Alright, so I'm out here at the lake. It's April 18th, 2023. The time is now 6 p.m. A little loud because of the waves. I might have to speak up, but that's alright. Yeah, there's barely any people out. The temperature dropped a little bit. It's like 50s, low 50s, so I guess it's too cold for people to come out, you know. But I just wanted to talk about something today, and something I thought about in the past. So regarding my targeting, I noticed that not only did it increase, but it also intensified. And this happened back in 2021, right? Right after the elections, my targeting just got much worse. And I gotta say that I didn't know I was being targeted before then. I had no idea. That's how I found out. That's how I can stand here and say that, you know, that I'm aware of my targeting, because it increased back in 2021. Before then, I was being targeted, but I was getting a lot of workplace mobbing, and it's been happening for over 10 years. My previous 2 or 3 jobs. I'm gonna say 3 jobs. My previous 3 jobs, I've got a lot of workplace mobbing. And looking back, I knew. Now I know that it was workplace mobbing because I've been isolated at work from other people. So that's how I know it was workplace mobbing. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about is Joe Hiden, right? And ever since he became president, my targeting increased. It literally doubled. So, and I believe I know why. I mean, the man, he's so old that he has, there is signs of Alzheimer's. You know, it's 80 something years old, and it's not uncommon for 80-year-olds to have Alzheimer's. It's not that uncommon. And I don't have a problem with him being old. I got a problem with him being president, because he's pretty much a puppet for the deep state. The man doesn't know where he is half the time. So ask yourself this: how did he become the president in the first place, right? It baffles me how 84 million people would vote. And what was he, 78, 79 at that time? I mean, Trump is not young either, but man, Trump was traveling for the 2020 campaign. He was traveling every single day, and the man was in his 70s. He was leading that lifestyle like he was in his 50s, right? You couldn't tell he was in his 70s. But yeah, man, Joe Biden, because of him, we have the corruption in this country just doubled. It got a lot worse. I mean, we've always had corruption in this country since the birth of intel agencies. At the very least, since the birth of intel agencies, because they've been corrupt for a long time. Probably since the beginning of time. But yeah, since this guy took office, Nobody respects him. Nobody fears him. Everybody just looks over him like he's nothing. Like he's not. Like he never became the president in the first place. It's like he works for his administration, and it should be the other way around. There's a couple of people right behind me. They're leaving now. I'm just gonna keep an eye out on a few people that are here, because that's where I got harassed. I believe it was last week, where the asshole walked right in front of me, right? And I had to slow down to not step on his feet. I should have probably stepped on his feet. Maybe that's what you wanted. But anyway, so yeah, they left now. They're not holding a phone. Probably not gang stalkers. Normally they're holding their phones, and once they see me, they'll start texting, right? So, but anyway, yeah. Ever since he became president, I don't know if I've ever experienced this type of harassment in my life, right? Maybe when I was little, maybe when I was younger, but I just don't remember. Feels like a fucking army, right? Feels like if you're a real target, you know what I'm talking about. Feels like an army is after you, constantly getting harassed. And it would happen to me 5, sometimes 6 days a week, where I would be getting harassed. And it was confusing. I had no idea what was going on. This happened right after his inauguration. I think it's called inauguration, right? In January, where Trump left and he became president. But yeah, right after his inauguration, January, that's when the targeting just got a lot worse for me. And I think around March or April was when I discovered the term gang stalking, because I had no idea what gang stalking was. I might have seen the term before, but I didn't take it seriously. I thought, well, it's not happening to me. Gang stalking, what is that? Gangbangers fighting with each other. I might have seen that term before, but I didn't take it seriously. Then when the following and the harassment started to the extreme every single day, that's when I started researching, just Googling the word harassment in public, and that's when Quora came up, and I saw the word gang stalking. And there's a lot of information on Quora on gang stalking, and that's how I found out. But I had no idea what I was up against. I even called my one of my parents. They used to talk a lot, right? And I told this person what was happening. Yeah, this was back in May or June of 2021. And this person told me, well, you just moved back. Because I left the family because of a narcissist. That was one of the reasons. That was a major reason why I moved out. I moved away hundreds of miles. And this parent told me, well, move back then. And I said, I don't think so. I don't think I'm moving back. And I've always been that scapegoat in my family, right? since I can remember, since I was a little kid. But I'll talk about that a little more, maybe in another video. Right now, I just want to talk about Joe Hiden. It just feels like he has signs of Alzheimer's. He's very forgetful. Sometimes it feels like he can't put a sentence together, right? And it's almost embarrassing that you have this type of president. I mean, we're supposed to be the leaders of the free world, and we got a president who can't put a sentence together. It's almost embarrassing. The whole world is watching and they're laughing. But that's not the main issue for me and for other real targets. The main issue is he's not a leader. He's a follower. And his administration is leading him into astray. That's the issue. They're taking advantage of him. They're taking advantage of all of us, all the decent and good people of this country and this world. So and they don't want Trump as president. That's for a reason. That's for a good reason. What Trump was doing, he was beginning to drain the swamp, right? He was beginning to drain the swamp. The economy was great. People were a lot happier until the year of 2020. So what happened in 2020 was we got hit with the pandemic, right? And that's something that happens once in a lifetime. The pandemic we had before then was 1917 or 1918. I believe there was the influenza pandemic. I wasn't born. My grandparents weren't born. So just a coincidence, right? That we got hit with the pandemic where millions of people died, and it happened in 2020. So if that's not enough for you guys, what happened in the summer of 2020? You guys remember all this looting and rioting, all that shit? So that's the second catastrophic event. Two in 1 year. So what was so special about 2020 that so many bad things kept happening? You guys know what was special about 2020? What happened at the end of 2020? You guys can probably guess what happened. What did we have at the end of 2020? So this is where I'm getting at. It just they wanted him out of office, and the deep state, the elite, they had to go through all that trouble to get him out of office. And now, since he announced that he's running, they had to indict him on some bogus charges. They make no sense. The previous presidents before him have done worse, and they've never been indicted. But they had to indict him because he's a threat. He's a threat to the deep state, to the elites, and the richest country, the richest people in this world. They don't want him as president. Because why? Because they're all for corruption. All they care about is money and power. You guys do enough research about these Illuminati people, the Illuminati bloodline. They're devil worshippers. They don't care about the good side of this world. But yeah, Joe Biden, I don't know how he's not impeached yet. I mean, the Republicans just took over the House, so, but I'm just not sure if they're going to impeach him. They probably should. They've done it to Trump. And I've heard that Republican DAs, district attorneys, they're thinking about prosecuting Biden, just like that dude in New York prosecuted Trump. The Republicans want to do the same thing to Biden, but I think they have to impeach him first. They have to impeach him for sure, especially if he announces he's going to be running. But he has done a lot of damage to this country and to other targets, and real targets, I should say. He's calling the Trump supporters the biggest issue this country faces. He's calling Trump supporters white supremacists, just all kinds of names. And this guy said he's going to unite the country. Bullshit. He divided the country even more, even further. The first divider, the first big divider was Obama, right? I think that's when BLM was born. And if you guys haven't realized, the thing about BLM, they don't care about decent and good black people. They care about thugs, criminals. They don't care about decent and good black people. If they did, they would have the millions that were donated to them, and those guys received over $100 million in donations. They would have donated that money to black communities where they needed the most. And Candace Owens, she released a documentary about that, where this Black Lives Matter people, the organization, they just packed up and left, and they bought all these mansions. I think they bought one or two in Canada, I'm pretty sure, but very little, if any, went to black communities. They don't care about decent and good black people. And these white Democrats, man, they're just a bunch of dolts. Especially the ones that donated to this organization, this BLM organization, and these Antifa commies. They're all commies. BLMs, Antifas, they're all commies. And if I offend somebody with this speech, if you strongly disagree, feel free to unsubscribe. So, or not come to my channel. That's all I can say. But no, I don't believe Americans elected Joe Biden. I think the deep state elected Joe Biden. right? And he's a puppet. He's not a real president. He's a puppet. He's a follower. And I'm not sure if he's a puppet because he's too cowardly, or he just doesn't realize what he's doing. He doesn't know. He doesn't even know where he is half the time, pretty much. You know. Cognitively, he's just not that same person. Like his cognitive health is just not the same. His thinking, his memory, and you could tell if you watch him. The few times that he's on television, and you watch him, you can tell that, you know, he's developing signs of Alzheimer's, if he doesn't already have Alzheimer's. So I did some research on Alzheimer's. It was years ago, and I believe there are stages of Alzheimer's. He might be in the beginning stage of Alzheimer's. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I do remember doing research. So, just been a while. But yeah, I don't want him as president for 2024. He has to go, and I don't want any far left Democrat as president either. If a Democrat gets elected as president, they have to move to the right. They have to be like Bill Clinton 1999 Democrat, right? Because he wasn't that extreme. And the Clintons, they have some serious issues as well. But back in the days in the 90s, the Democrats were not that far to the left. Anyway, guys, I worked really hard today. I think I'm gonna go eat my muffin. I got a chocolate chip muffin with some hot chocolate, and I walked 1.5 miles. I'm gonna walk back another 1.5 miles, so that's 3 miles. And I walked earlier also. That's about 3.5, 4 miles for the day. So I worked really hard, like I said, and I deserve a muffin. So I'm gonna go have a muffin. But let's just pray Joe Biden doesn't get re-elected, or any other far left communist Democrat, because our targeting, it's not gonna stop. It only might get worse, you know, if one of them gets elected or re-elected again. So but yeah, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and God bless.